The coffee was still hot when everything changed. Saturday morning, late October in Kansas City. I'd just finished my yoga routine in my Crossroads Arts District apartment, the modest one-bedroom I'd kept while my brother lived in luxury. The specialty coffee I'd splurged on filled the space with notes of chocolate and caramel. I should have left my phone alone, but I reached for it anyway, thumb finding Instagram while my brain was still in that post-workout haze. The first photo in my feed made me freeze. Brett, my 29-year-old brother in a sharp black tuxedo I'd never seen, arms wrapped around Lindsay Parker in a flowing white gown, mid-kiss, string lights glowing above them. The caption, "Forever starts today, had just married, best day ever," posted 6 hours ago. The mug slipped from my hand. Coffee splashed across my yoga pants, soaking through. I barely felt it. I scrolled. 10 photos became 20, became 47 images of a wedding I knew nothing about. A rooftop venue downtown, 3-tier cake with gold leaf. First dance, bridesmaids in dusty rows. Not one photo included me. Not even a mention. My hands shook as I pulled up my favorites. Brett's number at the top, where it had been for 14 years, ever since I became his guardian after our mom died. First call, voicemail. Second, voicemail. Third, fourth, fifth. On the 7th attempt, someone answered. What now? Not Brett. Lindsay's voice, sharp and annoyed, on speaker. Put Brett on, I said, forcing my voice steady. I need to talk to my brother. She laughed, short, sharp, dismissive. Oh, it's you. Listen, Anna, Brett's busy. We just got back from the reception and he doesn't need you stirring up drama. Drama? I didn't even know there was a wedding. Why wasn't I told? Silence. Then ice. Because I didn't want you there. You hover over him like he's still a kid, always inserting yourself, paying for everything to keep control. It's pathetic, honestly. Brett agrees. He's tired of it. Pathetic. The word landed like a slap. But you need to understand what those 14 years cost me. I was 24 when Monica Mitchell died. Black ice on I-70, wrong place, wrong time. Our dad, Scott, had passed from a heart attack 6 years earlier. Brett was 15, sophomore year, with dreams of becoming an engineer, a 3.8 GPA, and suddenly, no parents. I was in my senior year at University of Missouri, computer science major, 8 weeks from graduation. I had a Google internship lined up in Mountain View, an apartment waiting in California, a boyfriend named Jeremy who wanted to build a future together. I gave it all up in one afternoon. The day after Mom's funeral, I sat across from Brett in her kitchen, her coffee mug still in the drainer, her grocery list still on the fridge. "What's going to happen to me?" he asked, crying the way teenage boys do when they're trying to be tough. I took his hand. "You're going to finish school, go to college, become an engineer, build amazing things." But who's... I am. I withdrew from school, declined Google, broke up with Jeremy, became Brett's legal guardian. The next decade was a blur of sacrifice. I waited tables at Carmen's Cafe, sold insurance during the day, picked up weekend coding gigs at $30 an hour. Every penny went to keeping Brett fed, clothed, in his private school. When he got accepted to University of Missouri's engineering program, I paid $45,000 a year. Every semester, I transferred money that should have been my emergency fund, my retirement, my life. But it was worth it, or so I thought. When he graduated summa cum laude and landed his engineering job, I was so proud I cried. When he was 26 and I'd finally clawed my way to management at a tech startup, I did something monumentally stupid. I bought him a condo, $350,000 in Crossroads, trendy neighborhood, modern loft, the kind of place a young professional could be proud of. I put down $70,000, every penny I'd saved, took the mortgage in my name. Brett's credit couldn't handle it with his student loans and car payment. Meanwhile, I kept my modest apartment, kept my dented 2012 Honda Accord, shopped at Aldi instead of Whole Foods. But Brett had his dream place. Then came the Europe Fund. Brett had always wanted to study abroad, Paris, Rome, Barcelona. He'd missed his chance in college because I was paying tuition. So I started a 529 plan, 580 monthly, automatically withdrawn. 3 years later, 35,000. Last spring, I'd even booked the flights, Kansas City to Paris, returning from Rome. Premium economy for both of us, $8,000. A 30th birthday surprise. That's what I'd given him. Not just 400,000, but the prime years of my 20s and 30s, making sure he had everything I'd lost when our parents died. And now he'd gotten married without even telling me. "The condo you're unpacking wedding gifts in?" I said into the phone, voice dangerously quiet. "That's on my dime, monthly mortgage from my account. I'm on the title, not Brett. And that Europe fund? 35,000 I saved over 3 years? That's mine too." Lindsay snorted. "Please, Brett's got sponsorships lined up. My follower count just hit 200,000. Brands are throwing deals at us. Energy drink companies, fitness apps. We'll cover the condo ourselves, transfer the title whenever. As for the fund, consider it a wedding gift. We're cashing it in early." A gift. My 35,000 called a gift. "So that's it," I said. "You cut me out, insult me, and expect me to keep paying?" Brett's voice came closer to the phone. "Sis, Lindsay's right. You've done a lot, but it comes with strings. I'm 29. I don't need you managing my life anymore." Strings. Managing. "I raised you," I choked out. "Paid for everything." "Exactly," Lindsay cut in. "Always the hero speech. It's exhausting, Anna. Brett wants space, and I'm giving him that. Don't call again unless it's to congratulate us properly." "Brett," I tried one last time. "Talk to me. Alone." He hesitated. I heard him breathe. Then, "There's nothing to say, sis. Lindsay knows what's best for us now." "Hear that?" Lindsay's voice was triumphant. "We're a team. Your babysitting era is over. Bye." Click. I stared at my phone. 7 calls, 1 connection, 0 resolution. I looked at the mug David Harper had given me last spring. "Good vibes only." I threw it. It shattered against the tile, ceramic shards scattering everywhere. What I didn't know then was Lindsay's side of this story. 6 months ago, Brett brought her to my Sunday barbecue. She was beautiful. Influencer beautiful, with sun-kissed skin and a smile bright enough for Instagram. She'd seemed sweet, attentive, clearly crazy about my brother. "Brett talks about you constantly," she'd gushed, hugging me like we were friends. Over dinner, I'd told childhood stories. "Remember that Lego Liberty Memorial you built? Took 3 months. Mom cried she was so proud." Brett laughed, embarrassed but pleased. Lindsay's smile tightened. Her eyes narrowed. Later, when Brett went for drinks, I'd tried conversation. "Influencer life must be exciting." "It's a real job," she said, defensive. "People think it's just pictures, but it's marketing, branding, negotiations." I didn't mean... Most people don't get it. They think if you didn't go to college, you're not really working. That's when I understood. Lindsay grew up poor. Trailer home, single mom, rural Missouri. She'd built 50,000 followers by herself, clawed her way up from nothing, and here I was with my college education, buying Brett condos and planning European vacations. Everything she'd never had, I'd given my brother without thinking twice. I represented everything she'd been denied. And worse, I had Brett's gratitude in a way she never would. 4 months ago, I'd overheard her on the phone. "She treats him like he's still in high school, always paying for things. He'll never grow up if she doesn't back off." 2 months ago came the ultimatum. David told me later, Lindsay had given Brett a choice. "It's her or me. You can't build a life with me if she's in the middle." Brett chose Lindsay. Understanding her motives didn't make it hurt less. If anything, worse. She didn't just dislike me. She needed me gone, and she'd orchestrated the secret wedding to make it happen. I spent an hour cleaning up the shattered mug, another hour staring at the wall. Then I opened my laptop. New spreadsheet, exposure audit, 3 columns, asset, value, legal owner, line 1, crossroads, loft condo, $350,000. Sole title, Anna Mitchell. line 2, $529. Education plan, $35,000. Owner, Anna Mitchell. Beneficiary, Brett Mitchell. Line 3, Paris/Rome tickets, $8,000. Anna Mitchell. Line 4, monthly commitments, HOA $800. Utilities, 3 houses, insurance, $250. Anna Mitchell. Line 5, streaming services, subscriptions, $90 month. Anna Mitchell. Total exposure, $403,150. For someone who called me pathetic. I called Rebecca Foster, the corporate attorney I'd met at a conference 3 years back. 11 p.m., but I didn't care. She answered, groggy. Anna, what's wrong? Legal question. Fast. I have assets, condo, education fund, tickets, all in my name, brother's the beneficiary. Can I unwind everything without him suing? Silence, rustling, a lamp clicking on. What happened? He got married yesterday. Didn't tell me. His wife called me pathetic, said they're taking my money as a gift. I'm done. Okay. Legal answer? Yes, 100%. Sole ownership trumps beneficiary status. The 529 has tax penalties, but that's your choice. Real estate, your deed, your decision. List it, sell it, keep the proceeds. You're bulletproof. Any loopholes? Only if you signed a gift agreement. Did you? No? Then no case. Email me documentation. I'll send templates for everything. 5/29 distribution, airline cancellation, title transfer refusal. Execute Monday morning. I exhaled. Thank you. Anna? Her voice softened. This is nuclear. Are you sure? I looked at the spreadsheet. 14 years reduced to line items. They called me pathetic and expected me to keep paying. I'm not vindictive. I'm done. Okay. Templates in 10 minutes. Change all passwords tonight. I hung up and opened my password manager. Streaming, removed Brett's profile. Cloud storage, revoked access. Bank accounts, changed security questions. Email, 2-factor authentication enabled. By 1 a.m., templates arrived. I printed each form. 529, distribution request. Airline cancellation. Mortgage assumption denial, forcing either refinance or foreclosure. Filled them in with the same pen I'd used for his tuition checks. Scanned them back to Rebecca. Her reply at 1:47 a.m. Ironclad. Execute 9 a.m. Monday. I made fresh coffee, returned to the spreadsheet, opened a new tab. Action plan. Priority codes. Red for immediate. Yellow for 7-day notice. Green for 30-day processing. 5/29 fund. Red. Process Monday. 35,000 are back, minus penalties. Flights. Red. Cancel. Monday $5,600 refund. Condo. Yellow. List immediately. Fast sale. Utilities. Insurance. Red. Transfer or terminate immediately. I worked until dawn. Built a folder. Execution. Filled it with every form, every statement, every piece of documentation. When light crept through my window, I closed the laptop. I'd spent 14 years building Brett's life. Gave him everything I'd lost when our parents died. Stability, education, opportunity. Now he wanted independence from the sister who sacrificed everything? Fine. Starting Monday morning, Brett Mitchell was on his own, and I was finally free. I pulled up one last document, a blank email. To Brett Mitchell. Subject line, effective immediately. I typed, you wanted independence. You have it. All financial support ends today. Do not contact me again. My finger hovered over send. Not yet. Monday morning, when the banks opened, when the lawyers processed paperwork, when everything became official. I saved it as a draft. Looked at the family photo on my desk. Mom, Dad, teenage me, young Brett. All of us smiling back when family meant something. I tried, Mom, I whispered. I really tried. Then I went to bed. Monday morning, independence began, for both of us. Sunday evening, 24 hours after discovering the wedding, I drove to the Crossroads loft, my hands steady on the wheel despite the storm inside. I'd spent the day in cold calculation, made lists, checked account balances, read the templates Rebecca sent 3 times each. But beneath the methodical planning, rage simmered. They'd called me pathetic, expected me to bankroll their married life, and now I was about to have a face-to-face conversation they'd never forget. I parked in the guest spot, the one I'd paid for as part of the HOA package. The brick building loomed above me, lit by streetlights. Through the lobby's glass doors, I could see the elevator bank. I'd been here 100 times, bringing groceries when Brett was too busy, helping him move furniture, checking on repairs. Not anymore. The elevator ride to the 8th floor felt both infinite and instant. My reflection in the mirrored walls showed someone calm, composed. Good. Let them think I was here to make peace. I stopped at Unit 804, their door, my property. 3 firm knocks, footsteps inside. The door cracked open. Lindsay stood there in gray yoga pants and an oversized hoodie, phone in one hand, always filming, always performing. She blocked the gap with her body, not inviting me in. "What are you doing here?" Her voice dripped with annoyance. "We're unpacking." "I need to talk to Brett." I kept my tone level, glancing past her into the open-plan living room. Wedding gifts stacked on the counter, suitcases everywhere, the life they were building in my space. "Anything you can say in front of me. I'm his wife now." Brett appeared behind her, hair tousled, still wearing the shirt from yesterday's photos. He rubbed his neck, not meeting my eyes. "Sis, it's late. Come back tomorrow." "No." I held his gaze. "We do this now. Alone." Lindsay crossed her arms, phone angled subtly, recording. "Not happening. Say what you came to say." Fine. They wanted an audience? They'd get one. "You let her call me pathetic on the phone," I said directly to Brett. "You agreed I control you. Explain that to my face." He shifted his weight, eyes on the floor. "It's not like that exactly. You always act like you know what's best. Paying bills, planning my future. It makes me feel like I can't stand on my own." "Stand on your own?" I kept my voice dangerously calm. "The condo mortgage, $310,000 I've put in. Down payment, 48 monthly payments. Car insurance, the Europe fund, all from my accounts. That's how you stand on your own?" Lindsay smirked, phone still recording. "We appreciate the head start, really, but Brett landed a major deal today. Energy drink brand, 6 figures over 2 years. My wedding post's already pulled 50,000 likes. We'll refinance the condo, pay you back eventually. No more handouts needed." Movement in the hallway caught my eye. Mrs. Eleanor Walsh, the elderly neighbor from 806, peeked out her door. Phone up, filming. Another door creaked open across the way, a young couple in their 20s, also watching, also recording. I heard whispers. "That's his sister." "The one who paid for everything." Brett noticed the cameras too. He stepped forward, voice tight. "See? This is what I mean. You show up unannounced, turn everything into a scene. Just go home, sis." Lindsay leaned against the doorframe, triumphant. "Yeah, before this ends up online. You don't want to look desperate in front of the whole building, do you?" Mrs. Walsh's camera light blinked red. Another whisper. "Family drama after the wedding." I held Brett's gaze, searching for the brother I'd raised. The kid who'd cried at Mom's funeral. The teenager who'd hugged me after I paid his first tuition bill. The college graduate who'd thanked me with tears in his eyes. He was gone. Or maybe he'd never existed. Maybe I'd created him in my head. The grateful little brother who'd always need me, always choose me. "You're okay with this?" My voice finally cracked. "Her recording us? Neighbors watching? Me shut out like a stranger?" He exhaled, shoulders sagging. "It's our life now. We're building something without the safety net. You need to accept that," Lindsay added, reaching for the door handle. "Or don't. Either way, you're leaving. Close the door on your way out." The hallway felt smaller, eyes on me from multiple angles, phones capturing every moment of my humiliation. I could push past them, force the issue, remind them whose name was on the deed. But what would that prove? That I was exactly what Lindsay said, controlling, pathetic, Unable to let go? So I turned, walked to the elevator, pressed the button with a steady hand. The doors slid open immediately. I stepped inside, caught my reflection in the mirrored wall one last time. Calm exterior, storm inside. As the doors closed, I heard laughter from Unit 804. In the parking lot, I sat behind the wheel and pulled out my phone, opened Facebook. The Crossroads Loft residence group already had a new post from Mrs. Walsh, posted 3 minutes ago. Family drama on the 8th floor tonight. Sister crashed the newlyweds home after not being invited to the wedding. So awkward. 23 comments already, half sympathetic. Poor thing, she looked heartbroken. Half judgmental. If they didn't invite her, there's probably a reason. My phone buzzed. Text from Rebecca. I saw the listing forms you sent. Are you sure? This is nuclear. I typed back. They want independence. I'm granting it. Fully. Started the engine, pulled out into traffic. Decision locked in. Monday morning, 9:01 a.m., I made the first call. United Airlines customer service, how can I help you? Reservation under Mitchell, 2 tickets to Europe. $8,000 charged last month. Voluntary cancellation, both tickets. Keys clicking. Let me pull that up. Okay, I see it. Premium economy, flexible fare. You're eligible for a 70% refund after processing fees. $5,600 back to your original card within 7 business days. Confirmed. Confirmation code? I read it off. Done. First cut made. Next, the investment firm managing the 529 plan. I logged into the account, selected full distribution, filled out the reason, owner decision, tax ID entered, submitted. Confirmation email arrived instantly. $35,000 withdrawal approved. Federal penalty 10% withheld. $3,500. Net deposit $31,500 to checking account in 5 business days. Account will close upon completion. I stared at that last line. The account I'd opened when Brett graduated college, depositing $580 every single month for 3 years. The account that represented his dreams of seeing the Eiffel Tower, the Colosseum, the Sagrada Familia, closed. Phone call number 3. James Sullivan, the realtor who'd helped me buy the condo 3 years ago. Anna Brooks, long time. What can I do for you? List the Crossroads Loft. Today, aggressive price, quick close. Pause. The one you bought for your brother? Is he buying you out or? He's not buying anything. I'm selling. Market rate. Keys clicking on his end. Hot area. Similar units pending at $390,000 to $400,000. We could ask $395,000, net you strong profit after commission. Maybe $40,000 clear. Do it. I'll sign digitally. Papers in an hour, but Anna, is everything okay? Everything's fine, just time for a change. By noon, the listing was live on Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin. Professional photos I'd taken when the unit was empty before Brett moved in. Open house scheduled for next weekend. 3 showing requests came in by 2 p.m. Auto loan company, 3:15 p.m. I need to transfer title for the vehicle registered under my name. Stop all auto pay immediately. Title release will be mailed to the address on file. Payments stop effective next billing cycle. Brett's Honda Civic, the one I'd helped him buy, the insurance I'd been paying for 2 years, was now his problem. Home insurance. Remove the Crossroads property from my coverage, effective upon sale. Utilities. Transfer billing to current resident or disconnect if unpaid. Streaming services. Family Plan Manager. Remove 2 profiles. Charge dropped from $90 to $15. By 5 p.m., my inbox was full of confirmation emails. Cancellations, transfers, terminations. Every thread that tied me to Brett's life. Severed. I opened a blank text message. Brett's number still at the top of my contacts. You wanted independence. I'm granting it fully. No more support of any kind. Do not contact me again. Send. Then. Block contact. Delete photos. Every graduation shot, every birthday, every family dinner. Social media, unfollow, unfriend, remove tag. By the time I closed my laptop at 7 p.m., Brett Mitchell existed in my life only as a line item in a spreadsheet. And tomorrow, even that would be gone. What I didn't see was the panic setting in at Unit 804. That Monday evening, Brett sat at the kitchen counter, my kitchen counter in my condo, staring at his laptop screen. "The mortgage payment didn't go through," he said, voice tight. "There's a notice on the door, past due." Lindsay scrolled her phone on the couch, unconcerned. "Don't worry. Once my partnership with Tyler Grant's agency goes through, we'll have $10,000 a month minimum. Easy." "That's not signed yet. And the energy drink deal?" Brett rubbed his face. "They want us to post 5 times a week. Viral challenges, couple workouts. Lindsay, I have a full-time engineering job. I can't." "So post during lunch." "God, Brett." She didn't look up from her screen. "Your sister did everything for you. Now it's time to step up." "That's not fair." He stood, frustrated. "Anna, she did sacrifice a lot." Lindsay's head snapped up. "Are you defending her? After she showed up here last night and embarrassed us in front of the neighbors?" "She didn't embarrass us. He stopped. "I didn't tell her about the wedding. My own sister, the person who raised me." "Because she would have ruined it." Lindsay's voice rose. "Made it about her, how much she's done for you. I wanted one day where you were just mine. Is that so wrong?" Her eyes watered, the first genuine emotion Brett had seen beneath the influencer polish. "You don't understand," she said quietly. "I came from nothing. My mom raised me alone in a trailer. I built everything myself. When I see you with Anna, the way you look at her with gratitude, I feel like I'll never measure up, like you'll always choose her over me." Brett softened, pulling her close. "Babe, that's not—" "It is, and I couldn't live with it, so I made you choose." The words hung in the air between them. Brett pulled back slowly. You planned this? The wedding without her? The things you said? I protected us, protected you from her control. Or you isolated me from the only family I have left." Silence, heavy and suffocating. A knock at the door made them both jump. Brett opened it. Sheriff's deputy, clipboard in hand. "Foreclosure warning. Mortgage 30 days overdue. You have 48 hours to bring the account current or vacate the premises." Brett stared at the paper, hands shaking. But the payment's been automatic for 3 years." "Not according to the bank. Owner of record," he checked his clipboard, "Anna Mitchell, has declined to continue payments. Says you need to refinance or leave." The deputy left. Brett stood in the doorway, paper trembling in his hands. "She's really doing this?" he whispered. "She's selling the condo." Lindsay grabbed her phone, frantically calling. "Tyler, I need that deal now. Wire the advance today." Tyler Grant's voice came through speaker, bored and dismissive. "Lindsay, about that, your engagement metrics dropped after the wedding posts. Brands pulling out. They want established couples, not honeymoon phase. Market saturated." "What?" "But you said—" "I said potential. Things change. Sorry." Click. Lindsay stared at her phone. Brett stared at the foreclosure notice. The condo suddenly felt very small. "How much do we have in savings?" Brett asked. "Maybe $2,000. We spent the advance on deposits for this place. The wedding. The wedding I didn't tell my sister about." "Don't!" Lindsay's voice turned sharp. "Don't you dare blame this on me. She's the one who— Who what? Who paid for everything? Who gave me a place to live? Who saved $35,000 for my dreams?" Brett's voice cracked. "She gave me 14 years, Lindsay, and I gave her a secret wedding and a phone call where you called her pathetic. I was protecting our relationship." "You were protecting yourself from someone who only ever wanted me to be happy." The silence that followed felt like the end of something. Brett picked up his phone, tried to call me, blocked number, tried to text. Message failed to deliver. He sank onto the couch, head in his hands. What have I done? 3 weeks later, I sat in Rebecca Foster's law office conference room. Buyer's agent across the table. Title company rep to my left. Rebecca beside me with a stack of documents 3 inches thick. "Final walkthrough completed this morning. the title rep said. Buyer's financing cleared. We're ready to close. Rebecca slid the first page toward me. Purchase agreement. Sale price, $395,000. Soitam? Dollars. I signed. Deed transfer from Anna Mitchell to... She read the buyer's name, someone I'd never met, would never meet. Someone who'd make new memories in that space where Brett had lived rent-free for 3 years. I signed. Mortgage payoff authorization, $288,000 remaining balance. Signed. Title insurance, closing costs, transfer taxes. Signed, signed, signed. Rebecca slid the final page across. This is it. Once you sign, the sale is complete. Brett and Lindsay received their 48-hour vacate notice yesterday. They're out by 5 p.m. today. My pen hovered over the signature line. Did they try to contact you? I asked. 7 times. Calls, emails, 1 attempt to show up at your office. I told them you're not interested in negotiation. Good. I signed. Rebecca's phone pinged. Wire transfer confirmed. $374,000 net proceeds after fees, taxes, and payoff. I stared at the number on her screen. Original investment, $350,000. Profit, $24,000. 3 years of mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance. I'd probably put in another $60,000 total. So, technically, I'd lost money. But I'd gained something priceless. Freedom. How do you feel? Rebecca asked. I considered the question. I don't know. Lighter, emptier, both? My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. Sis, please, we got the eviction notice. We have nowhere to go. We have $847 in our account. Can we talk? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Brett borrowed David's phone. I read it once, twice. My hands trembled slightly. Rebecca watched me. You don't have to respond. I know. I pocketed my phone without replying. Stood. Shook hands with the buyer's agent, the title rep. Collected my copies of the documents. Walked out into the afternoon sun. Behind me, the door to Rebecca's office closed. Ahead of me, the parking lot stretched out. My car waited, the dented Honda Accord I'd driven for 12 years while Brett lived in luxury. Freedom felt strange, not triumphant, not victorious, just different, empty. I drove home to my apartment, my small, paid-for apartment, and sat on the couch in silence. 4 months passed like a slow-motion car crash. Brett and Lindsay. Month 1. They moved to a cheaper apartment in Westport. 1 bedroom, $12,200 a month. Brett worked overtime at Henderson and Associates, exhausted and stressed. Lindsay posted daily, couple workouts, breakfast aesthetics, sponsored content that got fewer and fewer likes. The energy drink deal officially canceled after 30 days. Insufficient engagement, the brand said. They'd already spent the $10,000 advance on deposits and rent. Month 2, credit cards maxed. $18,000 across 3 accounts. Minimum payments eating their budget alive. Lindsay's business meeting at the Hotel Phillips. Brett found the receipts hidden in her purse. Confronted her. She admitted it. Emotional affair with Tyler Grant, her agent. You're not who I thought you were, she said. You're weak without her. Lost without your sister's money. So you cheated? I needed someone strong. Month 3. Divorce papers filed. Lindsay moved out, leaving Brett with the lease and the debt. Her Instagram transformed into a victim narrative. Crying selfies, vague posts about toxic relationships, and finding myself. Comments turned vicious. You isolated him from his family. This is karma. Influencer scam exposed. Your follower count is dropping faster than your marriage lasted. She lost sponsorships. Profile dropped from 200,000 to 35,000 followers. Comments disabled. Month 4. Brett lost his job. 3 unexcused absences, couldn't focus, mistakes and calculations that could have endangered projects. Henderson and Associates let him go quietly. No car, repossessed for missed payments. No stable address, couch surfing at David Harper's place, then another friend's, then another. Resume gaps widening. Food bank visits became routine. Pride swallowed with every donated meal. Meanwhile, my life. Month 1. Promotion. Senior project manager, $140,000 salary. Corner office with a view. Solo trip to Sedona. Hiking red rocks at sunrise, no one to answer to. Month 2. Joined a yoga studio. Book club at the local library. Started dating again. Coffee dates, nothing serious but pleasant. Reconnected with college friends. Month 3. First therapy session with Rachel Kim. I feel guilty, I admitted, but also angry. Was I wrong? Right and wrong aren't the only options, Rachel said. You set boundaries, but boundaries can hurt people we love. The question is, can you live with that? Month 4. Conference in Chicago. Extended the weekend. Explored museums alone. Planned a winter ski trip to Colorado. Life was peaceful. But at night, sometimes I'd wake up thinking about Brett, wondering where he was sleeping, if he'd eaten, if he was okay. Then I'd remember, pathetic, and I'd roll over and go back to sleep. 4 months after the condo sale, I was in an online meeting when an unknown number flashed on my screen. I almost didn't answer, but something made me mute the video call and pick up. Sis, it's me, Brett's voice. Wrecked, crying. How did you get this number? Borrowed David's phone. Please don't hang up. I stepped into the hallway, closed my office door. My heart was racing. Everything fell apart, he said through sobs. Lindsay lied about the deals. She cheated, left me with $18,000 in debt. I lost my job. I'm crashing on couches. I have nothing. You chose this. I know. God, I know. I was wrong about everything. Can I stay with you? Just temporary. I'll find work, pay rent. No. Silence, then more sobbing. Please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Family forgives, right? My throat tightened. Not this time. You didn't just cut me out, Brett. You let your wife call me pathetic. You stood there while she recorded me while neighbors filmed. You made me a joke. I was confused. Lindsay made me think, you're 29 years old. You made your own choices. Live with them. Sis, I have nowhere. Goodbye, Brett. I ended the call, blocked the new number. Stood in the hallway, hands shaking. Tears finally came. For the first time since the wedding, I cried. Not gentle tears, harsh, angry sobs that left me breathless. This didn't feel like victory. It felt like losing my brother twice. Once when he chose Lindsay, once when I chose myself. I wiped my face, returned to the meeting, unmuted my video. Sorry, technical difficulties. Where were we? Focus sharp, no distractions. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, remembering Brett at 15, crying at Mom's funeral, holding my hand. What's going to happen to me? I am, I'd said, and I had been, for 14 years. But somewhere along the way, I'd stopped being his sister and become his safety net, and he'd stopped being my brother and become my purpose. We'd both lost something in that transaction. The question was, could we ever get it back? 1 week after Brett's desperate phone call, I sat in Rachel Kim's office for my regular Thursday session. Leather couch, soft lighting, box of tissues strategically placed within reach. I'd been holding it together all week. At work, I was sharp, focused, the newly promoted senior project manager everyone respected. But here, in this safe space, the facade cracked. I hung up on him, I said, staring at my hands. He was crying, begging, and I just ended the call. Rachel nodded, pen poised over her notepad. How do you feel about that? I did the right thing, set boundaries, protected myself. The words came out automatic, rehearsed. That's what you think. I asked how you feel. I was quiet for a long moment. Empty, angry, sad, guilty, all of it at once. Guilt is interesting, Rachel said. What are you guilty about? The question broke something open in me. What if Sarah was right? I choked out. My boss, she said something months ago that I have a tendency to micromanage. What if I did make Brett dependent? Every decision, every payment. I was so focused on taking care of him that I never taught him to take care of himself. And that realization changes what? It means maybe I'm not the hero in this story. Tears started falling. Maybe I'm part of the problem. I needed him to need me, because after Mom and Dad died, I didn't know who I was without someone to save. Rachel leaned forward slightly. That's a profound insight, Anna. But does it excuse what Brett did? The wedding, the insults, letting Lindsay treat you that way? No, it doesn't. So you can both be right and both be wrong. That's the complexity of real relationships. It's not hero and villain. It's two people who hurt each other from their own pain. I grabbed a tissue, wiping my face. So what do I do? What do you want? I looked up at her. I want my brother back, but not the version who needs me to survive. The version who chooses me, who shows up because he wants to, not because he has to. I want mutual respect. Rachel smiled softly. That's a worthy goal. But Anna, that kind of relationship takes time to rebuild, and it requires both people to change. You can't control whether Brett does the work, only whether you do yours. What's my work? Learning to love people without fixing them, learning that your worth isn't measured by what you sacrifice, learning that letting go can be an act of love, not abandonment. I sat with those words. They hurt, but they felt true. Can I ask you something? I said. Of course. If Brett does the work, if he actually changes, actually grows up, would it be weak of me to let him back in? Rachel shook her head. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's a choice, but it has to be earned. Trust is built in drops and lost in buckets. If Brett wants back in your life, he needs to show you through consistent action over time. Not words, not promises. Action. I nodded slowly. And if he doesn't? Then you've already built a good life without him. Either way, you'll be okay. For the first time in months, I believed her. That same week, Brett sat on David Harper's couch, staring at the ceiling. 2 weeks into couch surfing, and David's patience was wearing thin, David emerged from the kitchen with 2 coffees, handed one to Brett. You've been here 2 weeks, man. I love you, but Kelly's moving in next month. You need a plan. I know. Brett's voice was flat, defeated. Have you tried calling Anna again? She blocked me. David sat in the armchair across from him. Brett, I'm gonna say something you won't like. You fucked up, massively. Not just the wedding, everything after. Letting Lindsay talk to Anna like that. Choosing the influencer fantasy over your actual family. Man. I know. Do you? David set his mug down hard. Because from where I'm sitting, you're feeling sorry for yourself. But Anna, she lost her brother. You think that doesn't hurt her? Brett sat up, defensive. Of course it hurts her. But she cut me off without a second chance. Sold my home, took the money. Her home. Her money. David's voice was sharp. You do realize that, right? She didn't owe you any of it. Not the condo, not the education fund, not 14 years of her life. She gave it because she loved you, and you threw it back in her face. The words hit like punches. Brett's eyes filled with tears. Look, David softened slightly. I love Anna. She was at our engagement party, remember? And you know what she told me that night? She said, I hope Brett finds what I never did. Someone who builds with him, not for him. She knew she was holding you back. She just didn't know how to stop. I threw it all away, Brett whispered. Yeah, you did. Question is, what are you gonna do about it? She won't talk to me. Then show her. Not with words, with actions. Get your shit together. Not for her, for you. Become the man she always believed you could be. And maybe, someday she'll give you a chance to prove you've changed. Brett pulled out his phone, stared at the wallpaper. An old photo of Monica, Anna, and young Brett at the zoo, all smiling. I'm sorry, Mom, he whispered. I'm sorry I forgot what Anna gave up for me. David stood. You can stay through the weekend. Monday, I need an answer. Job hunt, apartment hunt, whatever. But you're taking action. Deal? Brett nodded. Deal. That night, he applied to 15 engineering positions, entry level, anything. His resume had gaps, his references were thin, but he applied anyway. By Sunday, he had 2 interviews scheduled. It was a start. 6 months passed. Winter turned to spring. Kansas City thawed. Brett's recovery. He landed a job at a smaller engineering firm, junior engineer, $60,000 salary, down from his previous $85,000. Pride swallowed. He took it. Found a studio apartment in Westport for $800 a month. Barely bigger than a hotel room, but it was his. Paid for with his own money. Sold everything unnecessary. The expensive watch Lindsay had convinced him to buy. The designer clothes. The dream of being an influencer's husband. Paid down his credit card debt methodically. $500 a month, every month. Down from $18,000 to $12,000. Bought a used Honda for $8,000, saved for over 4 months. No more leases, no more pretending. Started therapy. Court mandated from the divorce at first, but he continued by choice. Learned words like enmeshment and codependency and boundaries. Learned that being grateful didn't mean being dependent. And every Saturday morning, he volunteered at Harvester's Community Food Bank, the same one he'd used during his darkest months. Packing boxes, sorting donations, helping people who reminded him of rock bottom. Why do you keep coming back? Another volunteer asked one morning. Because I remember what it felt like to need help and be too proud to ask, Brett said. This is my way of paying it forward. In therapy, 6 months in, I need to make amends, Brett told his therapist. Not for forgiveness, I don't deserve that, just to acknowledge the damage. Have you tried contacting your sister? She blocked me, but I've been writing a letter. Rewrote it 7 times. I think it's finally ready. What makes it different from the others? No excuses, no justifications, just truth, and no expectations. If she never responds, that's okay. She deserves to move on. Anna's journey. I continued therapy weekly. Got promoted again, director of IT, corner office, 6-figure salary. Dated someone casually. Nice guy named Tom, graphic designer, made me laugh. But I wasn't ready for serious. He understood. Volunteered at Big Brothers Big Sisters, mentoring a 15-year-old girl named Jasmine who'd lost her mom. Helping her without trying to fix her. Learning that love could exist without control. One Thursday session with Rachel. You gave Brett everything except the one thing he needed most, she said. What? Permission to fail. Space to struggle. Trust that he'd survive without you. But what if he didn't? What if I let go and he fell apart? Like he did anyway? The truth of it stung. Anna, you can't control outcomes. You could only control your fear. And that fear kept both of you stuck. Him in dependence, you in martyrdom. Neither of you could grow. I wiped my eyes. So I was wrong too. Not wrong. Human. You did the best you could with what you knew. Now you know better. That's growth. On a Tuesday in late April, a package arrived at my apartment. No return address. Postmarked Kansas City. Inside, a handwritten letter, 4 pages on cream stationery. My hands trembled as I opened it. Dear Anna, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know some things. You were 24 when Mom died. I was 15. You were supposed to be starting your life. Google internship, California, everything you'd worked for. Instead, you paused it all for me. College, career, relationships, all on hold. For 14 years, you put me first. I never thanked you properly. Not once did I sit down and say what needed to be said. Anna, you saved my life. Instead, I let Lindsay convince me you were controlling. I believed her because it was easier than admitting the truth. I was terrified of being on my own, terrified I'd fail without you, so I pushed you away before you could leave me like everyone else did. That's not an excuse, it's an explanation. What I did, the secret wedding, the insults, standing by while Lindsay called you pathetic, was unforgivable. You're not pathetic. You're the strongest person I know. I'm the pathetic one. I spent 14 years taking and never giving back. I lost everything. The marriage lasted 4 months. The job, the car, the dreams, all gone. And you know what? I deserved it. Not because you punished me, but because I built my life on your foundation without ever learning to stand alone. I'm learning now. I have a junior engineering job, a studio apartment I pay for myself, therapy every week. I'm paying down $12,000 in debt, $500 at a time. I volunteer at the food bank I used when I had nothing. I'm becoming the person you always believed I could be, not for you, for me. Because that's what you always wanted, right? For me to stand on my own 2 feet. I don't know if you'll ever want to see me again. If you don't, I understand. I hurt you in ways I can't undo, but if you do, I'll be at Mom's grave on her birthday next month. November 7th, 2 p.m. I'll be there either way, cleaning her headstone, talking to her like I used to. If you come, I'd like to try to be your brother again. The real kind. The kind who shows up because he wants to, not because he needs something. The kind who earns trust back slowly, through action, not words. If you don't come, I'll understand. You've given me enough. You don't owe me anything more. I love you. I'm sorry. Brett, sans aider. I read it 3 times, then a 4th, tears streaming down my face. Called Rachel from my living room floor, letter clutched in my hand. He wrote me a letter. What do you want to do? I don't know. Part of me wants to forgive him. Part of me is still so angry. Part of me thinks this is another manipulation. All of those can be true. You don't have to decide today, or even next week. You have time. I folded the letter carefully, placed it on my desk. For 3 weeks, I looked at it every morning, read it again and again, analyzing every word for sincerity or manipulation. But mostly, I just felt tired. Tired of anger, tired of hurt, tired of the empty space where my brother used to be. Maybe Rachel was right. Maybe I couldn't control the outcome. Maybe I could only control whether I showed up. November 7th, Mom's birthday. She'd be 56 if she were still alive. I marked it on my calendar and waited. At the grave, November 7th arrived cold and clear. The kind of fall day Mom had loved. Crisp air, blue sky, leaves in full color. I drove to Forest Hill Cemetery, pulled into the winding road that led to the Mitchell family plot. My hands gripped the steering wheel too tight. 2:05 p.m. I was late on purpose, wanted to see if he'd actually be there. His car, the used Honda he'd mentioned in the letter, sat alone in the small lot. I parked 3 spaces away, sat there for a moment, breathing. You don't have to do this, I thought. You can leave. He'll never know. But I would know. I got out, walked the path I'd walked 100 times, past the old oak tree around the bend to the spot where Monica and Scott Mitchell rested side by side. Brett was there, kneeling at Mom's grave. Fresh flowers, daisies, her favorite, already placed. The headstone cleaned, gleaming in the afternoon sun. He looked different, thinner, older, worn down in a way that spoke of real struggle, not manufactured drama. He stood when he heard my footsteps. We faced each other across the grave. Long silence. The wind rustled through the trees. I almost didn't come, I said finally. I'm glad you did. I read your letter, all 300 times. And I'm still angry. What you did, what you let Lindsay do. Brett, you broke me. His voice cracked. I know. But I'm also sorry. He looked surprised. You're sorry? Anna, you didn't. I did. I held on too tight. Every payment, every decision I made for you, I was trying to keep you safe, but I was really trying to keep you close. To not lose you like we lost Mom and Dad. And in trying to keep you, I lost you anyway. We were both crying now. My therapist asked me what I want, I continued. And the truth is, I want my brother, but I can't be your parent anymore. I can't be your safety net. I need to be your sister, and I don't know if we can get there from here. I want that too, Brett said, but I don't expect it to be easy or fast. It won't be. Trust is earned back slowly. Then I'll earn it, however long it takes. I stepped forward, Extended my hand across the grave. Not a hug, not yet. That would be too much, too fast. A handshake, firm, honest, the beginning of something new, built on different ground. Here's what I can offer, I said. Coffee, once a month. No money, no fixing your problems, no falling back into old patterns. Just talking, as equals. Brett took my hand. His grip was steady. I'll take it. We shook. The physical contact felt strange and familiar all at once. Can I ask? Brett's voice was tentative. Are you okay? Like, really? I offered a small smile. I'm getting there. Therapy, new job, new life. I'm learning who I am without being your mom. It's weird, but good weird. Good. That's really good. You? Broke, humble, employed, learning to ask for help without expecting someone to save me. It sucks, but I'm proud of myself. First time in a long time. I'm proud of you too. The words surprised us both. We looked at Mom's grave together. She'd kill us both for this mess, I said. Brett laughed through tears. Oh, absolutely. She'd make us hug it out right here. Well, she's not here, so we do this our way. Deal. We stood in silence. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the headstones. Coffee next month, I said. Third Thursday, 3 p.m., Broadway Cafe in Crossroads. I'll be there. I turned to leave, then paused. Brett? Yeah? It's good to see you. He smiled. Small, genuine, real. It's good to see you too, sis. I walked back to my car. In the rearview mirror, I saw him kneel again at Mom's grave, head bowed. I drove away slowly. Not victorious, not vindicated, just hopeful. For the first time in months, I felt like maybe we could find our way back to each other. Not as guardian and dependent, not as martyr and burden, as brother and sister. Finally, 1 year later, 12 months of monthly coffee dates. Awkward at first, stilted conversation, careful boundaries, old wounds still raw, but slowly, stories emerged, laughter returned, trust rebuilt itself in inches. Anna started dating Tom seriously. He'd waited patiently while I figured out my life. Met him at a bookstore, bonded over mystery novels. He made me laugh, made me feel seen. Didn't need saving, still in therapy, still learning. Promoted to VP of IT, mentored Jasmine through her junior year, watched her get accepted to 3 colleges, learned that letting people succeed on their own was its own kind of love. Brett. Debt fully paid, every last cent. Framed the final payment receipt, a reminder of rock bottom and the climb back up. Promoted to Engineer 2, then Engineer 3, steady, unglamorous work. He loved it. Met someone new at the food bank. Rachel Torres, a social worker with a quick smile and a no-nonsense attitude about life. She knew his history. Dated him anyway. 6 months in, he invited me to meet her. Small dinner at his studio apartment. Nothing fancy. Anna, this is Rachel. Rachel, my sister. She shook my hand firmly. I've heard a lot about you. The real version, not the version Brett told himself for years. I liked her immediately. The engagement dinner. 1 year and 2 months after our meeting at Mom's grave, Brett invited me to dinner at his apartment. Tom came with me. Brett and Rachel stood in his small kitchen. The studio had grown to a 1-bedroom now, and Brett cleared his throat nervously. So, we have news. Rachel held up her left hand. Simple silver band, small diamond. Congratulations, I said, and meant it. We're doing something small, Brett said quickly. City Hall, maybe 20 people, but Anna, I'd like you to be there, if you want. No pressure. I understand if I want to be there. His eyes filled with tears. Really? Really. Tom raised his beer. To new beginnings. Brett raised his, then looked at me. Sis, would you say something? I stood, glass in hand. To my brother Brett, I said, who taught me that sometimes love means letting go, and sometimes it means showing up anyway. To family, the messy, complicated, worth fighting for kind. We clinked glasses. Brett pulled me aside later while Rachel and Tom laughed over stories in the living room. Thank you, he said quietly, for giving me another chance. I know I didn't deserve it. You earned it, I corrected. One coffee date at a time, one honest conversation at a time. That's how trust works. I won't mess this up again. You might. We both might. That's human. But we'll figure it out. Together this time. He hugged me then, the first real hug in over a year. I let myself hug him back. Not perfect, not healed completely, but real. And that was enough.